Hey guys, Chris here from Hockey Tutorial, and today in this video I wanted to take a look at some tips that you should consider when you're flying with your hockey equipment. Now, hockey equipment is big, it's bulky, it's not fun to drag around an airport, but by hopefully bearing these tips in mind, you'll save yourself a lot of hassle and your equipment will arrive, hopefully in one piece, unbroken, undamaged on the other side. So let's take a look at some. Now, the biggest question that came in when we were asking yourselves what you wanted to know about traveling with hockey equipment, specifically flying, was about sticks. Now, the biggest recommendation I have when flying with sticks is to get yourself a stick bag. Even if it's something that you don't use during the regular season or during practice, it's definitely something I'd recommend getting specifically for flying with. I don't use a stick bag at the rink, but I definitely use one when I fly. Aside from it offering an additional layer and also somewhere for you to sneak last minute things into your bag like tape or scissors, it's also great to be able to bind multiple sticks together and then put them inside the stick bag. So what I like to do here is, even if I'm going with one stick or two sticks, I'll always throw in an additional stick. Even if it's an old stick that I don't use, I might throw in 2 or 3 extras just to tape round together. What this does is that it adds a lot of rigidity to the stick, because it's a lot harder to break 4 sticks in one go than it is to break 1. So this is going to help to keep your sticks protected. It's always a good idea to have the sticks that you're actually scared of damaging right in the middle of, I guess you could say, this sandwich of sticks that you've got inside the bag. But the important thing is to tape these sticks together, line up the shafts, line up the stick blades, and tape the bodies of the sticks together around the heel section of the stick and of course at the top of the stick by the butt. This keeps them fixed together inside the bag, and it adds a lot of strength to them while they're going through transit and really helps to minimize the chances of your sticks getting damaged. Another tip is, if you're traveling with multiple people and you're all carrying a couple of sticks, do the same thing. Get stick bags if it's multiple stick bags, or preferably a team stick bag. Put all the sticks together, tape them together before they go in the bag, then put them inside the stick bag. This is a really good tip, and it means that you don't really have to worry about bubble wrapping the stick blades, or you can take a precautionary step if you want to do that. This isn't something that I normally do. I have done it once or twice when I've been traveling without a stick bag, but so long as the sticks, you have multiple sticks bound together inside the bag, they stand a really good chance of arriving at the other end without any damage or being broken. This doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a really good idea to photograph your sticks as they're going into the stick bag. It's a good idea to do this with all of your high value equipment, because it means that if you need to chase up something being broken or damaged in transit with the airline or whoever, it means that you're going to have evidence of what the equipment looked like before it went into the bags, before it was put on the plane. So you have something to prove the condition that your equipment was in before you traveled. It takes a couple of minutes, and I promise you it'll save you a lot of hassle should anything go wrong. So from there, it's onto the bag, the biggest, bulkiest thing that you're going to be traveling with. Now, 9 times out of 10, whether you're flying domestic or internationally, the bag is going to go through oversized. This is purely because of the dimensions, the size, the weight of a hockey bag, and mainly because of the straps that come attached to it. These are prime candidates for getting hooked on the machinery that is inside the baggage carousels, and it can lead to your bag being lost, damaged, or even torn open. This is something that's actually happened to me. So what this means is that after you've been dragging your bag around the airport looking for where you need to check it in, chances are it's not going to be going off behind the desk where you'd normally leave your bags to get taken away. You're going to need to drag it over to the oversized section, and that's where it's going to go. But before you do so, if this is something that you could do at home or on your way to the airport, is get a bit of tape or even a bungee cord to try and fasten the straps or any buckles or anything that's loose and hanging from the hockey bag to the sides. This is just going to minimize the chance of it getting caught on any machinery as it's going through baggage carousels and whatnot at the airport, to maximize the chance of this thing coming through at the other side in one piece. Now, trust me, I've followed all the rules. I've taken a bag to oversized, and on multiple occasions, my bag straps have gotten hooked on some piece of machinery and the bag has been split open. I remember arriving at Gatwick Airport after a trip to Vancouver, and all I saw on the baggage carousel was pieces of my hockey equipment spilling out all over the airport. This was a disaster, so I'm giving you these tips to avoid this ever happening to yourselves. So as a side note, it means that if the person behind the desk that's checking in your bag doesn't say anything about it going oversized, I would definitely bring it up, because you don't want your bag to go through the regular carousels and get stuck. So definitely mention that. While on the subject of bags, it's definitely a good idea to check if the airline that you're flying with allows any sporting equipment to go through for free. Now, this is something that I've noticed with some of the Scandinavian airlines and also the Canadian airlines. It's worth checking, because if you've got a bag full of hockey equipment and a stick bag, which counts as an additional bag, it means that you might not be charged for them if the airline allows you to check in sports equipment for free. Now, if you caught what I said about the stick bag counting as an additional bag, that's just how it goes. Even if the sticks aren't inside a bag or they are in a bag, you're going to get charged for an additional piece of luggage, or it's going to count towards one of the check-in bags you already have. So for example, if there's 2 of you traveling internationally, so you've got one check-in bag, one hand luggage bag, and you have a hockey bag, a stick bag, those are going to count as 2 check-in bags. So bear that in mind. That's why it's a great idea to find out if the airline you're traveling with allows sporting equipment to go on for free. Because if you have any other items that need to be checked in as separate bags, you'll still have additional check-in luggage that you can use. Now, this is the other reason why if you're traveling with multiple people, it's a good idea to consolidate all of your hockey equipment, especially the sticks, and send them through as one check-in bag. Because you normally have about 30 kilograms to be able to check in your luggage with, and 4 or 5 sticks is not going to be anywhere near 30 kilograms. So it's a good idea to consolidate your sticks all in one bag and let them go together. Again, coming back to the point of it makes all of the sticks much more rigid because they're together, less chance of them being broken in transit. So that's always a really good idea. Something else I'd like to do with my hockey bag is normally I'll have quite a lot of space inside there. So I'll add a duffel bag inside my hockey bag where I'll put either my skates wrapped up in either, say, some towels or some jeans or any items of clothing that I don't really need, to just add a little bit of extra padding inside the bag, because you need to keep in mind the bag's not going to be handled very softly. And there are instances where they might be very, very heavy, very big baggage put on top of your bags. So it's worth making sure you do everything that you can to protect the valuables, the things that could get damaged in transit that are inside your hockey bag. For me, that's going to be my skates, my runners, and also my helmet and visor. I like to make sure I put them somewhere inside the bag that they're padded with either clothes or whatever I can get to pad them up, just to make sure that they don't get damaged while they're in transit. Also, wrapping up the visor on your helmet or even the cage, just adding a bit of padding around anything that could get damaged is always a really good idea. And of course, any skates you have inside your bag, it's always a really good idea to put blade covers or blade protectors on them, just to make sure that they don't get dulled or cut against any pieces of material or other pieces of hockey equipment you have inside your bag. Now, this doesn't sound like a really big deal, but if the bag that you're traveling with is a hockey bag you've had for a while, it's pretty beat up, it might have small little tears or cuts inside the bag or rips, I would definitely suggest not using that kind of a bag, because your bag going through the airport, sometimes they might not be as delicate with it as they should. And the last thing you want is a small tear or a small rip opening up and some of your equipment to go missing or anything to be damaged. So definitely bear that one in mind. If you're looking for a bag to travel with, I would honestly recommend getting a wheeled bag. Wheeled hockey bags always do much better at the airport than standard carry bags. Standard carry bags are, of course, have a very, very soft base, whereas the wheeled bags have a very, very stiff base, which works a lot better at the airport. And it also works really well not having to throw your hockey bag over your shoulder and walking up and down airport terminals. It's a lot easier to be able to drag your hockey bag behind you. So picking a wheeled bag up for traveling with, if it is an option, would definitely be recommended. In this part of the video, I wanted to answer some of the questions that you asked about flying with hockey equipment on Instagram. Now, the big one that came up was a few months back, I posted a picture of me on a plane with my skates with the runners on them. And a lot of people were asking, how did you get those through security? How did you fly with skates as hand luggage? So what I wanted to mention in that video is that it's really at the discretion of the airline and also the security people that go through your hand luggage at the airport. There has been 2 occasions where I've tried to do this and I've had to disconnect my runners and leave them at the security gate. Now, very thankfully, the airport said that if I paid, I think it was £6, they would ship them to my house or my office, which was a bonus because I didn't want to lose my runners. But it's really, really at the discretion of the people that you meet at the airport, so you do need to be careful with this. You need to be prepared to leave your runners or your skates if the runners don't disconnect as a worst case scenario. So please bear that in mind. Depending on where you are, I've noticed that if I'm flying from Sweden to Finland or Finland to Sweden, it's very normal to do that and go through the airport with your skates as hand luggage. But when I was leaving from London Stansted Airport and I was trying to get to the US, this wasn't happening. So just bear that in mind. I wouldn't suggest it, but I really didn't want to check them in. Personal circumstances, I just wanted to get on the plane and get off as quickly as I could. So bear that in mind. If you're prepared to leave your runners behind or your skates, then go for it, but just be careful. So hopefully this video has given you a few tips that you should consider when you're flying with your hockey equipment. If there's any tips that we haven't mentioned that you use and you fly often with your hockey gear, please leave them down below in the comment section, because I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from being able to pick up some of the tips that we haven't covered in this video. As always, thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you like the videos that we do, make sure that you subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you in the next one. As a side note, if there's anything you want us to film that we haven't already, leave your comments down below and we'll try and make that happen as best as we can. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.